Now flaming from the zenith, Sol had driven his fervid orb through half the vault of heaven, while on each host with evil tempest fell. The showering darts and numbers sank to hell. But when his evening wheels overhung the main, glad conquest rested on the Grecian train. Then from amidst the tumult and alarms, they draw the conquered course in radiant arms. Then rash Patroclus with new fury glows, and breathing slaughter pours amid the foes. Thrice on the press like Mars himself he threw, and thrice 3 heroes at each onset slew. There ends thy glory, there for the fates untwine, the last black remnant of so bright a line. Apollo dreadful stops thy middle way. Death calls in heaven, alas, no longer day. For lo, the god in dusky clouds enshrined, approaching a dealt a staggering blow behind. The weighty shock his neck and shoulders feel, his eyes flash sparkles, his stunned senses reel. In giddy darkness fall to distance flung, his bounding helmet on the champion rung. Achilles' plume is stained with dust and gore, that plume which never stooped the earth before. Long used untouched in fighting fields to shine, and shade the temples of the mad divine. Jove looms it now on Hector's helm to nod, not long for fate pursues him and the god. His spear in shivers falls, his ample shield drops from his arm, his baldric strews the field. The corslet in his astonished breast forsakes, looses each joint, each nerve with horror shakes. Stupid he stares, and all assistless stands, such is the force of more than mortal hands. A Dardan youth there was, well known to fame, from Panthus sprung, Euphoribus was his name, famed for the manage of his foaming horse, skilled in the dart and matchless in the course. Full 20 nights he tumbled from the car, while yet he learned his rudiments of war. His verdurous spears first drew the hero's gore, he struck, he wounded, but he durst no more. Nor from the first Patroclus flurry stood, from swift accrued to Patroclus wood, and turned him short and herded in the crowd, thus by an undivine and mortal spear. Wounded at once, Patroclus yields to fear, retires for succor to his more social train, and flies to fate with heaven decreed in vain. Stern Hector as the bleeding chief he views, breaks through the ranks and his retreat pursues. The lance arrests him with a mortal wound, he falls, earth thunders, and his arms resound. With him all Greece was sunk, at that moment all heard yet surviving heroes seemed to fall. So scorched with heat along the desert score, the roaming line meets a bristly boar. Fast by the spring they both dispute the flood, with flaming eyes and jaws besmeared with blood. At length the sovereign savage wins the strife, and the torn boar resigns his thirst and life. Patroclus thus, so many chiefs overthrown, so many lives infused, expires his own. As dying now at Hector's feet he lies, he sternly views him in triumphant cries. Lie there, Patroclus, and with thee the joy thy pride once promised of subverting Troy, the fancied scenes of Ilion wrapped in flames, and thy soft pleasure served with captive dames. Unthinking man, I thought the towers to free, and guard thy beauteous race from lords like thee, but thou a prey to vultures shall be made, thy own Achilles cannot lend thee aid. Though much at parting the great chief might say, and much enjoin thee this important day, return not, my brave friend, perhaps he said, without the bloody arms of Hector dead. He spoke, Patroclus marched, and thus he sped, supine with wildly gazing on the skies. With faint expiring breath the chief replies, Vain boasters, cease, and know the powers divine. Jove's and Apollo's is this deed not thine. To heaven is owed whatever your own you call, and heaven itself disarmed me from all my fall. Had 20 mortals each the match in might, opposed me fairly they had sunk in fight. By fate and Phoebus was I first overthrown, Euphorbus next, his third mean part my own. But thou, Imperious, hear thy latest breath. Insulting man thou shalt be soon as death. Insulting man thou shalt be soon as I. Black fate overhangs thee, and thy hour draws nigh. Even now on life's last verge I see thee stand, I see thee fall, and by Achilles' hand he faints the soul, unwilling wills her way. The beauteous body left a load of clay, flits to the lone, uncomfortable coast, a naked, wandering, melancholy ghost. Then Hector, pausing as his eyes he fed, on the pale carcass thus addressed the dead. From whence this brooding speech, the stern decree of death denounced on why denounced to me? Why not as well Achilles' fate be given to Hector's lance, who knows the will of heaven? Pensive he said, the pressing as he lay, with his breastless bosom tore the lance away, and upwards cast the course the reeking spear. He shakes and charges the bold charioteer. But swift Automedon with loosened reins wrapped in the chariot over the distant plains. Far from his rage the immortal coursers drove. The immortal coursers were the gift of Jove.